So Morgan and I were part of the same church. It was a young church, like a 20-somethings church, and we were in the same basically restoration group, small group. And so being young and having extra time and available, I'd host a lot of cookouts at my house where I was at the time. And I remember there was a time we both got caught in conversation inside on our yellow couch, which we don't have anymore. Um, and the conversation, which I thought was just going to be a light conversation, turned into a very deep conversation about really meaning, meaning in life and what our plans were, and things in our Christian walk, I guess, that were important to us. And we really hit it off in that conversation. I think we both kind of walked away thinking like, "Whoa, what just happened there?" type of thing. And then Morgan knew that I was interested in her because during that same visit, she had made a recommendation for the decor in the room, and the next time she came over, I had put that in the place. So
I saw the black pillows and I was like, he's into me. Yeah, first date. So we had just a couple weeks later, we'd been calling on the phone ever since that first conversation. And then we went on our first date to Castleton Grill. I know, high rolling, in front of Castleton Mall. And then I lived over by Fort Bend at the time. So we just went back to my apartment and walked around Fort Bend and then hung out on the patio of my apartment talking and hanging out for the night.
So I guess the one funny story that I guess I have is was the night that I asked Morgan's dad for her hand in marriage, and she grew up. Her parents are farmers, and so every Labor Day they have a big party at their house out on the farm. And I had brought the ring, or I just bought the ring. I think I ordered the ring that week, and so my plan was to talk to her dad during that weekend. I had to find a time during that weekend to get him alone and ask him. And he's very busy putting on this huge party for everybody. And so I saw my moment. I think it was the Saturday night. He was in a chair around the campfire, and I got up to go approach him. And as I got up, he got up and started walking away, and I had no idea where he was going. And so I followed him, and then he stands behind his truck, and I said, "Mark, I have a question for you." He goes, "What are you doing, boy?" He's like, "I'm trying to take a leak back here." I was like, "Oh, sorry." So it was real awkward. I tried to get away, and then of course, it's an important question, so I sat there and waited for him, and I asked him, and he looks at me and he says, "Are you sure?" And so yeah, that was it was a very awkward question, but I guess it got the job done.
Yeah. And he told you no refunds or exchanges.
No refunds or exchanges, what he told me.
In our premarital counseling, the couple that we met with, they just really focused a lot on communication, and especially on communicating expectations. And so I didn't realize that at the time that so much of what they were doing was helping us learn how to communicate our expectations and set our expectations for marriage. And so I think that's probably been really helpful for us. And it seems like even when we do have our disagreements, it's because we failed to communicate expectations. One of the things that I find myself saying is that unspoken expectations always lead to disappointment. And so just working always to communicate our expectations for any event, any plans, just anything going on, even just expectations for each other around the house, those sorts of things.
We're still working on that one.
Yes.
The biggest thing I could say about marriage is it's not about you. I think that kind of applies to other areas in life, but definitely to marriage, that it's not about you. I think Matt Brewer had a saying the one time I sat down with him. He said, "All of life is a sacrifice." I think that's a succinct way to put it, that it's not about you. It's not about your happiness. It's not about trying to find contentness or being content in your spouse. It's not about what you can get out of the relationship or out of this marriage, but it's a sacrifice. And so we enter into this covenant imitating Christ and his love for the church. And Christ loves the church even despite being imperfect, not just imperfect, really just being kind of repulsive. A hard marriage is not necessarily a bad marriage. Working through a hard marriage, there's a lot of value in that because it gives us a glimpse of what Christ sacrifices for us, that he loves us even when we're unlovely. So it's not about you in all of life. excuse me, all of life is a sacrifice.
They just strive to outserve each other in every way and everything you do. Just always look for ways that you can be putting your own interests or wants or needs aside for the sake of your spouse. Outserving one another will lead to a lot of peace in the home and happiness in the home, and just generates true love and respect for each other as well.